Welcome to Prosper, Texas, and before we jump into showing you some real estate around this amazing city, we always got to stop and get a little coffee first, right? So we're over here at 1418 Coffee. It might seem familiar to you if you checked out our Plano vlog tour, where they have a location over there as well. But otherwise, we're kind of in the older section of Prosper where everything kind of started up, and we always like to kind of show you a little bit of the history of the area. But that's what we want to do today, take you around Prosper, show you a couple of different homes, different price points, but also give you a good idea of everything that's happening in this town, because it is growing at a massive rate, and people are busting out of Frisco and moving to Prosper since it's just right on the other side of the highway. So easy access to Frisco, Plano, McKinney, Allen, Salina, everything. Prosper will be the new centrally located hotspot, and the sooner you buy property here, the better the investment for the long term, not just for your pocketbook, but for the family as well. So let's go in, grab a cup of coffee, and we'll get this thing started. All right, so make sure whenever you come over here, you talk to Matthew. He's the manager. All the pastries are made in-house, which you love. That's what I love about these little coffee shops around town, the boutique coffee shops, you could say. Unlike the chains, you really get some local homemade goodies that are always pretty tasty, right? I mean, just much better than what you find out there in those chain coffee shops. I would recommend picking up, I always like to pick up coffee. I still got my bag from actually Plano, but they got some swag in here, lots of options, plenty of room if you wanted to come over here and do some work. So I highly recommend 1418 Coffee here in Old Town Prosper. All right, got the iced Americano. Now what we want to do is head to Old Town, downtown, you could say. We'll take you over to the newer parts of Prosper today as well, and just show you a little bit around, and then we'll go hit some neighborhoods, show you some real estate, and we're gonna get into it, so let's go for a ride. Now you're gonna see here as we pull out of 1418 Coffee and just make a slight left turn right here and cross the street, we come right over in Old Town Prosper. This is where things started up. There's a couple of little shops, restaurants around here, some boutique things to do. Let's see, I don't know, a music shop right there. You've got on the left side, you've got the main city hall right over there. That's a newer building. And then you have a lot of these historic buildings. Looks like these are getting remodeled over here. You've got the Gin, which is a really cool breakfast and lunch spot we're gonna stop at later just to grab a quick bite. And over on this other side, they have a food truck park. So if you wanna come out on Friday or Saturday night, then you can enjoy some different options with the food truck park right over here, and they're building a lot right around here and developing this whole area. So let's get out and kind of take a closer look. Now here in downtown Prosper, just on the other side of the Gin, which the Gin is probably the most popular spot down here, you have a flower shop, you've got gymnastics for the kids. Right over on the other side, you have wealth management if you need to get your finances in order. You've got the music shop, and then there's a couple of cool little shops over here. You got inappropriate trucker hats, you've got an art studio for the kids, and an interior design company over here. So whenever you move in, maybe you can work with them to get your place decked out when you're ready to go. But there's some interesting stats I want to share with you on Prosper. Prosper is rapidly expanding in just north of Frisco, around 45 minutes from Dallas and an hour from Fort Worth. It was established in 1876 as a rural community and named Prosper to signify hopes for success and growth. The railroad expansion happened in 1902, and that boosted the town's economy. It was incorporated as a town in 1914. It transitioned from agriculture to more of a diversified economy. Then Prosper experienced rapid growth and suburbanization. They invested in the infrastructure and the amenities, and it continues to undergo ongoing development. It's known as a family-friendly environment and quality schools. The population of Prosper is 41,752. The city motto is small town, big heart. The growth rate has been 10.6 per year, and this makes it the 9th fastest growing suburb in Dallas-Fort Worth. And the projected build-out population is close to 72,000, although it will probably go far beyond that. Now, before we jump into some real estate, a lot of people are always asking about the schools, and Prosper schools are second to none. So let's go and show you a couple of the high schools here. There's 3 main high schools that we're gonna feature. The third one was just finished, and it was finished a year in advance, which really speaks to how they get things done here in Prosper and how quickly this whole community is growing. And by the way, my name is Levi Lassick. I'm with the Living in Dallas, Texas team. And if you're thinking about making that move to Dallas, feel free to reach out any way possible, call, text, email, or even a Zoom call. All of that information is in the description below. And by the way, leave me a comment if these types of videos are what you like to see, if this is helpful for you to get a good idea of the area, or if you live in Prosper now, let us know. Is there anything we left out, or what are your favorite parts of Prosper? Now let's go check out some high schools. Now we're passing by, you got Prosper Chiropractic right over on the right side of us. You have the good old barber shop in that, probably, who knows how old that building is. And this is what you're gonna see as you drive through Prosper. You're still gonna see a lot of green and open spaces, and it's gonna be, it's a lot of a good country feel out here. I mean, you've got this older community out here on this side of town, and then of course over on the other side where you have like Star Trail and Windsong Ranch, then that's more of the newly developed side. And then also just down the road here, we have the Preston Shopping Center, and the middle school is right there, which is massive. That's way bigger than my high school ever was. You've got a little bit more commercial, and we're only about a mile from the high school, from Prosper High School, the first main high school here. And you can see there's still some shops and buildings scattered throughout. There's the post office off to the left, but there's just a lot of gap and space in between because this is still a growing area. You've got Trails of Prosper right to the other side, which is another nice neighborhood. You're gonna hit a stoplight, and before you know it, we'll be over here at Prosper High School and Frontier Park, which is the main park here that has a lot going on, and we'll show you that. All right, so before we stop by the high school, we're gonna stop in this neighborhood, just cruise through it, because this is just south of Prosper High School, to give you a good idea of some of the homes in this neighborhood, which is not really a community that has a ton of amenities. And again, when people come to Prosper, they're thinking about Star Trail, they're thinking about Windsong Ranch, these other communities with just massive amenities going on there. So this is something a little bit more low key, a little bit more, I wouldn't say as established. This probably started about the same time as Windsong Ranch, but I'm gonna show you what you can get for $1 million over in this neighborhood, which is a pretty good size home. You can see as we're driving through here, they do have the community pool going on over to the right, and that's probably the main attraction that's happening here. You can see, you can notice the trees, the growth of the trees. They're looking like they're about 5 years old. Again, because the homes in this area were probably built around 2015, 16, and 17. So as you can see here, we're passing by the community center or the park area with the playground and everything that's happening right here. Now this home we're driving by right now is listed at $1,049,000 here in this neighborhood. It's a 6-bedroom, 5.5 bath. It's 4,525 square feet, and it was just finished in 2023. So you got a new construction nestled in the middle of a lot of these homes are probably about 5 to 7 years old. So that's not a bad opportunity right there. Now it's a little bit higher on the price per square foot, around $232, which there's another $1 million property listed in here for around $213 a square foot, but it was also built in 2017. So that should give you a good idea whether you're looking for new construction or maybe looking for something a little pre-existing. You're going to find a little bit of a better deal on the pre-existing just because people know that they're competing with new construction, and it just depends on your taste. Do you want to, move into a pre-existing home, likely a one-owner home in these neighborhoods, or do you want to go brand new construction? It's nice, fresh, and clean right out of the box, right? So those are the options here as well. Now let's head over to Prosper High School and Frontier Park. Here we are at Prosper High School, pulling in, and you're about to see the scale of these schools here in the North Dallas area. They are absolutely massive. And here you are at Prosper High School, one of the top rated high schools in all of Dallas-Fort Worth. Gets an A+ rating from niche.com and top ratings from several other websites. It was built in 2009 and has about 3,800 students enrolled just in this location. Now the schools in Prosper, Texas are zoned for Prosper ISD, and it contains 3 high schools and 4 middle schools. You have Prosper High School, Rock Hill High School, and Walnut Grove High School. The 4 middle schools are Rushing Middle School, Reynolds Middle School, Rogers Middle School, and Hayes Middle School. You have 15 elementary schools. The school district is ranked as top 2% school districts in the country, top 1% school districts in Texas, top 0.7% school districts for athletes in the country. Has 25,314 total students with a student to faculty ratio of around 16:1. Prosper High School exemplifies excellence both on the field and in the classroom. From football and volleyball to water polo and color guard, there is an activity for everyone to pursue. This school has an A rating for academics from the Texas Tribune, boasting a 99.4% graduation rate and a 55% college readiness rate, surpassing the state average by 15%. Now as we're leaving Prosper High School, we're gonna head over to Frontier Park, which is the main park area here in Prosper, the biggest one as well, and it's right next door to Prosper before we head over to the other 2 high schools to give you a look on that, and we'll show you around. So let's go check out Frontier Park. Hay bales. Oh, and by the way, you know, growing up in the country and now being here in Prosper, the old farmer's joke is anytime you see hay bales on the side of the road, you got to yell, "Hey," because everybody will be like, wait, what's going on? What's going on? And you're like, hey, hey. Whew. I tell you what, that speed walk can really take a lot out of you, but you got lots of trails here at Frontier Park. This is Prosper's largest park with over 80 acres of land here for you to explore and have a great time at. Frontier Park features a massive outdoor sports complex with lighted fields. It includes 11 soccer fields, 2 synthetic turf multi-purpose fields, 3 synthetic turf baseball or softball fields, a 5-plex of baseball and softball fields, 5 backstops, 4 batting cages, a lacrosse field, and also features a catch and release pond, a pedestrian bridge, a 1.7-mile long paved walking trail, playgrounds with different structures, a splash pad, and the unpaved trails. Here we are off of Preston Road, and Preston Road is also called 289, which runs all the way down to downtown Dallas almost, stops right in Uptown. But you'll see here on Preston Road, this is where you're gonna find all your new construction. This is just one of the shopping centers. We're about to take you to the main brand new shopping center in Prosper, but you can get a good idea where you've got the grocery stores, orthodontics, title companies, yogurt, all that good stuff right in these strip malls that are going to be placed throughout. But you're going to find the newer stuff here along Preston Road. And now let's go check out the gates of Prosper, one of the biggest commercial developments going on right here, still ongoing, but there's a lot happening, so let's go. And here we are at the gates of Prosper, one of the largest commercial developments here. And this is what's spurring a lot of the growth right off of Preston Road and the tollway. They're now extending the tollway all the way up through Salina and past Salina. So as more of the completion of the tollway takes place, property values, commercial development, all of that is going to continue to go up. This is a pretty good investment if you're thinking about making a move here because you're at the front end of the development. There's plenty of population growth that's going to happen. There's plenty of commercial development that's going to happen. And as more and more corporations and companies move over to Frisco, you're just within 10 to 15 minutes to get over there, where there's a lot going on over in Frisco as far as development as well. The Gates of Prosper is a massive 800-acre shopping center with over 100 stores. Some of the anchor stores include Walmart Supercenter, Field & Stream, Ulta Beauty, Old Navy, TJ Maxx, Burlington, and Panera Bread. There's also a number of smaller stores including restaurants, clothing boutiques, and specialty shops. The Gates of Prosper is a great place to find everything you need, whether you're looking for groceries, clothes, or a new place to eat. It's also a great place to spend the day with the family and friends. Currently, they are developing many more properties, including the only Target that's going to be in Prosper, if you even want to shop there anymore. And here we are at Rock Hill High School, finished in 2020 and located in Frisco, but mainly serves Prosper and McKinney. Opened in 2020 during the pandemic, so around a quarter of the initial students attended classes online at the start. It serves around 2,000 students at this point. It has 16 team sports. The average SAT score is around 1220, the average ACT score around 26, and it has a 15-to-1 student to teacher ratio. So my Dallas house, I just Airbnb'd. It's almost 80% booked in the first month now, and already covered that mortgage and taking $1,200 off the new mortgage, which was the whole goal. Well, the whole goal is to pay for both.
Right.
And you got a rental property too, right?
Yeah, I do. It's small, but it pays the mortgage on my other property. So,
so we gotta get some tiny homes out there on your land.
Oh, I agree. We've got 10 acres of undeveloped property in Blue Ridge, Texas, road access.
You got some good sunsets out there?
Oh yeah, we're even elevated up a little bit on top of a hill, so we get good sunrise, sunsets. It'd be a perfect spot to build 5 or 6 tiny homes. Could develop them each with their own nice little lot.
Do they have access? You have pond out there, right?
Yeah, we have a pond, and it'd be easy to just bring a bulldozer out, some sort of land developer, and have them just reshape the land in every desirable way that we could imagine. Put little ponds and.
Can you catch anything in there?
Our ponds aren't stocked, but it's pretty common and easy to stock a tank and have your own fishing spot. And the longer you throw them back and catch and release, the bigger they get year by year. As long as you got to watch out for the turtles. If you keep the turtles out, the fish can grow. But if you get turtles, then they'll eat all the fish before they can grow big.
How do turtles catch fish?
I think they eat them when they're pretty small, like they're still eggs and just developing little tadpoles. They just stop them from ever growing.
Gotcha. I was about to say, I couldn't see a turtle catching a fish.
Yeah.
And here we are at the Walnut Grove High School. Now, I misspoke a little bit earlier. It's going to be completed in fall of 2023 and opening for that semester, which that is a year ahead of schedule. It was originally scheduled to open up in 2024, but you can see right behind me, it is massive. So they are building bigger and bigger and better schools here in Prosper. There's probably many more to come, but you won't miss out with any of the options that you have in Prosper for high schools. Walnut Grove High School will consist of a 530,000 square foot, 2-story academic building and a 75,000 square foot multi-purpose facility. There will also be a 1,000 seat auditorium and a 2,200 seat sports arena. And this will be the 3rd high school in Prosper. Now we're here at the Gin restaurant, which is in downtown Old Prosper, and this opened up in 2001 whenever the town only had 3,000 residents, and it was pretty much the only place for them to go around here to grab a good bite to eat and a drink. The restaurant is now a popular spot for both locals and visitors alike. It's known for its delicious breakfast food, friendly service, and a lively atmosphere. The Gin is a piece of Prosper's past and present, and it's a place that will always be cherished by those who call Prosper home. All right, so I had to test out the pizza here. I got the Southwest barbecue pizza with chicken on it, and we got some buffalo chicken wings, and then let me see that camera there, Alex. Let me see that. I didn't even introduce Alex. I didn't even introduce Alex earlier, who's our full-time videographer. He's always behind the scenes, but made the debut there. Yeah, what's up, man? What'd you get there?
This is a breakfast. You can eat breakfast at all hours of the day.
Yeah.
Eggs over easy, sourdough toast, hash browns, bacon. Perfect Texas breakfast right there.
Awesome. So let's dig in. Now, before we head over to Star Trail to show you a little bit more of some real estate here in Prosper, by the way, we crushed this. It was absolutely amazing. Alex loved breakfast for lunch. Very good. The wings, spot on. We got the buffalo, a little bit of ranch, and the pizza. They homemade the crust here, just like flour, water, and salt, which is always very important to me. Less ingredients, the better. But let me know. I'm going to tell you a little bit of the history of Prosper before we head over to the next neighborhood. But you have to let me know in the comments, is this something you're even interested in? Would you like to know a little bit more of the history of these towns? Or am I completely off base with going into that and you just want to stick to the real estate stuff? So in 1876, the county courts put up for sale the local land around here that was referred to as Rock Hill and Richland. As people began buying up the land, these two settlements began to expand, attracting more residents and building the foundation of what would become Prosper, Texas. Now, over the next 26 years, the development would continue to grow here until about 1902, whenever the biggest change happened. The St. Louis and San Francisco Railroad. This railroad went right through the center of the two settlements, and the decision was made to merge Rock Hill and Richland. This established a vital link between Dallas and Sherman, with the town that would be Prosper positioned as a central stop along the railway. Like a heartbeat, the trans brought life and energy to the community, connecting it to the larger world and laying the foundation for its future prosperity. And whenever the community here originally applied for the post office, they went with the name Richland. However, fate had a different plan. With the news that the name was already taken, J.C. Slaughter stepped forward with a stroke of inspiration. He suggested the name Prosper, a word that encapsulated the dreams and aspirations of the town's residents. And so that means in 1914, Prosper was officially incorporated at that point. Prosper started out with just 500 residents, and little did they know, over the course of a century, Prosper would blossom into a thriving suburban community within the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, experiencing exponential growth and progress. So now we're heading into Star Trail, which is also one of the most popular neighborhoods in all of Prosper. And we're not going to cover Windsong Ranch in this video again, because we've done the most extensive vlog tour on Windsong Ranch, where if you want to learn everything about that, check out that video. But as we turn in here, you see nice, beautiful landscaping throughout here. I like the patriotism here. They've got American flags lining the whole entryway as you come in. And you're gonna find homes priced from all different ranges, from low 7 to 800s up to over $1 million. You'll see we're coming up to the main amenity center entrance right up here, where they've got quite a bit happening over there. And you'll see what really separates Star Trail from Windsong is a couple of really main cornfield. And you'll notice this is almost surrounded completely by cornfields, as there's still a lot of room for development out here in Prosper. So it's growing rapidly, but there's still so much opportunity and room to be built out here. There's going to be more and more communities and commercial space popping up every single day. Now you can see here in this neighborhood, of course, these homes are, and here we're pulling up on this property, which is right at $819,000 for a 4-bedroom, 5-bath, with the square footage around 3,014 square feet. And it was built in 2020, and the square footage is right around $272 a square foot. So I would say that puts it a little bit on the higher end here in Prosper. But again, you're coming into a very established neighborhood. You can see the tree growth around here a little bit more, but still on the younger side, you could say. But overall, it's a nice community. HOA is about $108 a month for those that want to know, and you're close access to everything you need in Prosper. Star Trail presents an exceptional living experience, offering a range of amenities designed to enhance the residents' lifestyles. Residents can enjoy the refreshing pool, perfect for relaxation and leisure. The thoughtfully designed playground provides a safe and engaging space for children to play and explore. For the nature enthusiasts, the community features walking trails that zigzag throughout the surroundings, providing opportunities for peaceful strolls through the natural beauty. In terms of convenience, Star Trail enjoys a favorable location with proximity to various shopping, dining, and entertainment options. Residents can easily access a diverse range of retail establishments, restaurants, and cultural attractions. So now we're heading over into some of the $1 million plus homes over here in the Star Trail area, and you'll see they've got quite a bit of new construction going on over here as well. So if you're looking for $1 million plus new construction, then you can find some options over here in Star Trail, which is what we're coming on right around this little curve as we turn around. It's a Highland home, and you'll see here it's a 5-bed, 6.5 bath, and there's a giant truck right in the way of it, but we'll still pull through there and see. You'll see other homes similar to it, but 5 bed, 6.5 bath, right at 4,314 square feet. So that is pretty nice over here, although you still have a little bit of construction going on, but that's never a bad thing, right? That just kind of helps improve values as things go on. But this is over on the back end, kind of a little cutoff area. You've got some cul-de-sacs through here, a lot less traffic, which makes it a little bit nicer, and some bigger lots.
There's so many pros of living in Prosper that the population growth stands to reason. People are flocking there, and we're going to go over some of the reasons why. So let's start off with the pros of living in Prosper, Texas, because there's plenty of them. But before we do that, I want to give you a little overview. We're going to be covering the school districts. We're going to be covering safety. We're going to be covering restaurants and things to do, parks and recreation, and many, many more. The economy in Prosper as well. Very important if you're thinking about making that move. So let's just get started right away. So Prosper has the fastest growing independent school district in the entire state. Now we call that an ISD here, which is Independent School District. So you'll hear it referred to as Prosper ISD. So Prosper has 2 major high schools. They just finished construction on Rock Hill High School in 2020, and their schools are competitive and put a huge priority on sports with 16 different programs. Now Prosper ISD has about 22,000 students and more than 2,600 staff members for 14 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, 2 high schools, and they've got 1 high school on the way. In 2022, Prosper High School had 99.6% of the students graduate on time or early. Rock Hill had 98% graduation rate. Education takes a very high priority in Texas, so having a high percentage of graduates is very normal for Prosper. Now, getting back to that 3rd high school, which Prosper actually just announced, it's called Walnut Grove, and it's projected to open fall of 2023, a year ahead of schedule. So that's how the construction goes in Prosper. It moves very quickly, but to be able to finish a high school 1 year in advance is outstanding, but they have the need for it because Prosper is growing so fast. Now, one of the other things you have close to Prosper is Collin College. There's not actually any campuses in Prosper, but they're right next door at McKinney, Frisco, and Salina. So if you want an affordable way to knock out the first year or 2 of college, Collin College is one of the absolute best community colleges that you can attend. Now, if you want to get into some of the restaurants, and this would be pro number 2, I mean, there is a smaller selection in Prosper as of now. Don't worry, Frisco is right south of you, so that's where most people tend to run out for a night on the town. But there are some of the top restaurants in Prosper, just to name a few. You have Concetta's Italian Kitchen, the Brass Tap, Gentle Creek Country Club, the Gin, Hannah Hibachi and Sushi, Honey Lou's Coffee, Prosper Pantry, Roma's Italian, and Silo Park. Those are just some of the few that are named by the locals as their favorite spots. You will have some of the typical chain restaurants there as well, and if you really want to get up there in, fanciness, then you'll probably head down to Frisco or even Plano if you want to experience something a little bit on the higher side. But don't worry, there's plenty coming into the Prosper area in the near future. All right, another one of the big pros of living in Prosper is they do love their master plan communities there. They are massive, and probably one of the most popular ones is Windsong Ranch. So these communities are the talk of the town and have extraordinary amenities. Besides the incredible homes, these communities include social events, fitness classes, sports courts complex, swimming pools, dog parks, and other parks, and many trails for hiking, biking, and running. And you wouldn't even believe it, but yes, there is beaches in Prosper as well. Now, this is something that makes Windsong one of the most desirable communities, not just in Prosper, but in all of North Texas, is their Crystal Lagoon. It is absolutely amazing. They brought in white sand, so you have a nice white sandy beach. And I've been there myself with friends that live there. It's a lot of fun. It's one of the minimally chlorinated pools as well, so you really feel like you're in natural water. That's one thing I don't really like about swimming pools, when they're over chlorinated and you walk out and your skin is just dry and itchy and you just smell like a chemical, right? You don't get that at the lagoon in Windsong Ranch. Ranch. It's really, really nice water. The lining of it makes it look like you're in the Caribbean, which is why everybody loves it so much. And I tell you what, the overall community is absolutely amazing. Now, one of our team members bought their personal home in Windsong Ranch just about 2 years ago, and it's already appreciated over $100,000. Now, that's because the last 2 years, the appreciation rates went up quite significantly, but still there's going to be significant appreciation happening likely in Windsong Ranch as well, just because it's one of the most desired areas because of the lagoon, because of the fitness centers, the community activities, everything else. It's also referred to as the golf cart community because everybody likes to boot scoot around on their golf carts. But overall, it's an amazing area. But if that makes competition for buying homes and the home prices increase as well. So that would be a con of trying to get into Windsong Ranch is you're going to have very low inventory. You're going to have elevated prices. But I tell you what, if you can find a home in there, which we've been able to do that and still find good deals for our clients, then your appreciation will be on the rise likely for a very long time, especially with the PGA headquarters and the fields development just happening on the other side of 380, as well as the newly announced Universal Studios theme park that's going to be going in there as well. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to make property values, I think, increase quite significantly in that area. Now, when we talk about the economy in Prosper, I mean, it is growing, especially if you're in commercial development or you're in the educational industry. If you're in academics or you teach or you're an administrator in the school district, then there's a lot of opportunities and growing even more, especially with the new high school going in Prosper, but all the construction that's happening around there. They're also extending the Dallas North Tollway through that area. So if you're in any type of road construction or building construction or concrete or brick or anything like that, there's going to be plenty of work around there. But you have Frisco and Plano just to the south of you, which I believe Frisco is going to be the new hub. I mean, it practically is already the new hub. By the way, we've got a video on Frisco, pros and cons you have to check out, and the best tour ever of Frisco that you'll want to see after this if you haven't already. But the thing is that so many corporations and businesses are moving to the corners of Plano and Frisco, right there on the tollway on 121 and Dallas North Tollway, but throughout Frisco as well. So Frisco, they predict within the next, actually by 2030, will have a lot more office space than even downtown Dallas, which is hard to believe. That time is approaching, but 7 years from now, that could very well happen. With the growth of businesses and the influx of commercial real estate, more jobs have become available. And more jobs means more people, of course. That also means a greater housing need. And when the demand for housing goes up, so do prices. However, one of the perks of having more businesses is the increase in job opportunities. It's hard to go very long without work in Dallas overall. Over 21 corporations moved to Dallas last year alone. And that is great news for anyone wanting to move to Prosper or the surrounding areas. So here are some of the best companies to work for in the area. You have V Spatial, First United Bank, Penske Motor Group, and Cook Children's Medical Center. And that's the other industry as far as the medical industry. If you're a nurse or a doctor, then no shortage of hospitals around Frisco, McKinney, and they're developing more and more in the Prosper area. Plus you have Salina to the north, which only has about 25 to 30,000 population right now, but is slated for 378,000 people. So Salina above Prosper is going to grow tremendously as well. So you're going to be sandwiched right in the middle. That's always going to be great for your property values. Now, if you look at another pro of Prosper, it's going to be the Parks and Recreation, and they have very extensive trails and systems all throughout Prosper that you can hike and bike on paved concrete, which is nice, off the beaten path, off the roadways. So it's nice and safe. And I tell you what, there's no shortage of that happening in Prosper. There are 634 acres of open spaces for public use, as well as 52 miles of developed hiking and biking trails. Now here's some of them: Boyer Park, Cedar Grove Park, Eagles Landing, Folsom Park, Frontier Park, and Hackberry Park. There's also a lot of things to do in Prosper, so there's no shortage of that. Not only do you have Frisco and Plano and Salina and McKinney all next door, but there's actually some cool things happening in Prosper. That includes the annual fishing derby, the annual spring cleanup, the Mayor's Coffee for ages 55 plus, Discover Downtown, Pride in the Sky Independence Day, National Night Out, Celebrate Prosper BBQ and Blues Festival, one of my favorites, because I tell you what, the barbecue in Texas, if you haven't had it yet, you are absolutely absolutely missing out, and you'll want to get here as soon as possible because it's amazing. Now, when it comes to safety, Prosper is up there as well. Anywhere in the North Dallas area is doing pretty good right now on safety. They just did a recent poll in Prosper, and 87% of the residents say there is little to no known crime and it doesn't even concern them. Niche.com gave Prosper a B for crime, and the biggest offender is theft, but still way below the national average. And that's the thing, that's typically what you're going to find up in these North Dallas areas, in particular Prosper. It's going to be petty theft that is really going to drive the crime stats up there. We just don't hear of really negative things happening around there, especially whenever it comes to violent crime. But you want to check the online stats as you want to confirm everything before you definitely buy a home in a particular area. Now, when we get to the bad side of Prosper, there are some cons when you live there, because not everything is just peachy keen, unicorns and rainbows, right? So you got to look at the downsides of living in Prosper as well. All right, number one is going to be housing. And being in the real estate industry, I'll tell you this, is that we've seen unprecedented levels of appreciation in those areas in the last couple of years. It's starting to level out. We're not seeing a drop in prices, a drop in values. We are seeing a drop in prices. People are not listing homes at the highest prices or the higher prices that they were earlier, but we are seeing a stabilization of values, but still likely to increase, especially with the announcement of Universal Studios going in just south of 380 around in Frisco. That is going to increase demand quite a bit. So the demand is high. You can look at this in a good way and a bad way. If you're a current resident, you're doing quite well. If you buy now, you're going to build in that appreciation. The longer you wait, you're probably going to buy into Prosper at a higher price. There's really high demand for homes in Prosper, which has driven those prices up. But if you have a little extra money to put down, then it's definitely worth it. The average home price is around $766,000, which seems pretty high. However, the average income is around $153,000, and the home prices aren't a major issue for most of the people in that area. Besides appreciation, there's also an option to refinance later. So you're really walking into a winning situation. I understand people are concerned about interest rates right now, but sellers are willing to negotiate, and that's something you need to give us a call about, because we want to understand your situation. And if you need to make the move, or it's time for you and your family, or you have to make a move because you have a job transfer or something like that, then we need to talk through your situation. But you can still get yesterday's rates in today's market. We know exactly how to do that and how to negotiate that through the seller and get them to potentially buy that down for you. So you could still easily get in the 4s on your interest rates, maybe even the 3s based on the buy down options that we could get the seller to pay for. But you got to give us a call so we can discuss that. Now, homes are a little hard to find. They're mostly sold out and there is very low inventory. Now, if you call new construction companies, a lot of them will tell you that they're mostly sold out, but at the same time, we know the builders. We have very good relationships with the builders, and so that way, sometimes they have things off market or they're holding on to them because they don't want to release them right away. So if you give us a call and you want new construction as well, we can point you in the right direction so that you can get something secured now, and then also talk through, what is that going to look like as far as interest rates, and when is that home going to be finished, and what are we likely to expect? Very important factors to consider. All right, a second negative of living in Prosper is going to be the traffic right now. Highway 380, which is the main road that runs west to east or east to west, whichever direction you're going, typically always backed up. They're going to have to expand it. On top of that, with the announcement of Universal Studios, which is going to be south in Frisco, right there on the tollway, around the 380 and tollway area, I can't imagine if you're commuting to Dallas, getting through that section is probably going to be an issue going forward. Now, if you work from home or remote work, then not a big deal. You can avoid traffic likely at all costs. If you don't go during peak hours, you're going to be able to navigate Prosper just fine. And if you're heading down to Frisco, you're probably going to be okay as well. But if you're a commuter, even if you're commuting to Plano and you take the tollway, that whole complex getting built. There's also the Fields of Frisco, which we mentioned on our Frisco pros and cons. The Fields is over a 2,600 acre development, a city within a city. They're building that so people don't have to leave. So hopefully that'll cut down a little bit of traffic because people won't need to go anywhere. But you have the PGA headquarters in there, a couple of major golf courses, and with Universal going in and around that area as well, I imagine traffic in that tollway and 380 corridor is going to get jacked up. So that is something you want to be mindful. And if you live on Windsong Ranch, that's a very accessible intersection that you're going to need to get through on a regular basis. On top of that, 83% of the drivers drive alone and only 0.03% is allocated to public transportation. So that's another downside, is if you like public transportation and you're coming from the Northeast, somewhere where you're used to that, it's just not here. It's definitely not in Prosper, not going to be a factor. You're going to have a car. This is a driving city. city. As you saw, 83% people drive by themselves, which is a lot of cars on the road. Now, on the upside to that Universal Studios is that's going to create a lot of jobs and a lot of tourist income. So depending on your job or your business or whatever position you may be into, that could be a great way to capitalize off of that incoming business just from Universal. So you could look at that as a good thing. The other downside to driving around Prosper and Frisco is going to be the tolls, because you have the Dallas North Tollway. Getting to the airport is going to be mainly toll roads. 380 as of right now is not a toll road. I don't think they're planning on making that a toll road, but if they extend it or widen it or anything like that, you might come to expect that. But you have the Dallas North Tollway, you have Sam Rayburn Tollway, and you have George Bush Turnpike, all toll roads, which really help you get around that whole North Dallas area. So that's a big downside, because if you don't like paying for tolls, those are going to be the most convenient roads, but it's going to cost you a penny or two. Now, another downside, or you could look at this as an upside, depends on which way you're looking at it, is going to be the property tax in Prosper. On average, it's around 2.4%. That's something to keep in mind. Now, you have ways that you can apply for homestead exemptions, military disability exemptions, senior exemptions, and also working with an attorney or a tax reduction company that may be able to lock some of those in place. But once you put that homestead exemption in place, they shouldn't be allowed to raise your taxes at least over 10% each year. And I know the government of Texas, or the legislature of Texas, is working that into the next session as far as property tax relief. So cross our fingers, we hope, because I would say that's a huge downside of living in Texas, although we have no state income tax. So if you don't like paying state income tax, for you high earners, that could save you a lot of money. I mean, even for the low earners, that can save you a lot of money. But property tax is kind of where they make that up. So 2.4% is on average what you're going to find across Prosper. And there are some communities that will have MUD or PID taxes included in that. So you want to be mindful, because if you move into a neighborhood, you'll want to know that up front. But the main thing is again, we got to run the numbers before we start looking at homes, so that we can get you into the home that fits your budget. That's the most important thing. And that pretty much wraps up the pros and cons of living in Prosper, Texas. We hope you found this video very valuable. By the way, let us know in the comments below if you live in Prosper, or you used to live in Prosper. What did you like? What did you not like? That really helps out everyone that is watching this video and considering Prosper, considering buying a home in Prosper. Love to always hear from the locals or the former locals as well, right? Let us know what you like, what you didn't like. Be nice though, of course. And again, whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. And until next time, well, we hope to show you around town.